A confidant of Diana, Princess of Wales, has said the Duke of Sussex faces an unstable 2023. Prince Harry is determined to reinvent himself and become independent from the royal family, a close friend of Diana, Princess of Wales, has claimed. Debbie Frank said the Duke of Sussex was gearing up for a turbulent 2023 which could cause more upset for the family, and added he should expect a wake-up call from those around him. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex rocked the establishment this year with their controversial Netflix documentary in which the couple make a series of claims about the Windsors. Publication of Harry's memoir, Spare, on January 10 has been trailed by the publisher as a work of raw, unflinching honesty, threatening to send more shockwaves through Buckingham Palace. Miss Frank, who is also an astrologer, told Hello! Magazine, Prince Harry's stars are lining up in a roller coaster formation for him through 2023. The rebel planet Uranus is sitting uncomfortably on the most personal angle of his chart in his moon, signifying further upsets with family, surprise moves, and severance with his old life. She continued, Harry's personal world looks far from settled and stable and has prepared to make the final cut with his roots. His restlessness is hard to contain, triggering a desire to move home and to continually reinvent himself as independent from the royals. As much as he is the one triggering shock waves, he is also receiving a wake-up call from those around him. In this cosmic climate, his life feels electrically charged and full of change. The Duke's memoir will detail his thoughts and feelings about the death of his mother, who was killed in a car crash in Paris in 1997. Harry and William joined senior royals and Diana's brother, Charles Spencer, to walk behind the princess's coffin as she was carried to Westminster Abbey for a funeral service watched around the world. Ms. Frank said, Harry has lived through a long period of grief and confusion with clouded perception, and after the first week in January the veil is lifted. The astrologer predicted that from June new directions will beckon for Harry, after the coronation of his father, King Charles III, on Saturday, May 6. Among the claims leveled against the royal household, Buckingham Palace was accused of briefing negative stories about the Duke and Duchess of Sussex as part of a war against Meghan. Meghan's lawyer Jenny Afia, of Shillings, says, as footage of the palace is shown, there was a real kind of war against Meghan, and I've certainly seen evidence that there was negative briefing from the palace against Harry and Meghan to suit other people's agendas. The Duchess's friend Lucy Fraser adds, Meg became this scapegoat for the palace. And so, they would feed stories on her whether they were true or not to avoid other less favorable stories being printed. Meghan says she was being fed to the wolves during the opening of episode 5 of the documentary. Speaking about wanting her son Archie to have a big family in the way she did not, Meghan says, I was just so excited that we were going to be able to create for him that thing that I had always wanted. So I just did everything I could to make them proud and to really be a part of the family. And then the bubble burst. Harry then says, it was already clear to the media that the palace was not going to protect her. Once that happens, then the floodgates open. Meghan replies, I realized that I wasn't just being thrown to the wolves, I was being fed to the wolves. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex also claimed the palace was blocking Harry from seeing his grandmother, Elizabeth II. He says in episode 5 he and Meghan were planning to fly back to the UK for a visit in early 2020, and the Queen told him she had no plans all week so they could go for tea and stay the night. Meghan said, so, we're flying back from Vancouver straight to Heathrow, and right as we're getting on the plane this urgent message comes through to H saying you are not allowed to go and see Her Majesty. Make sure that your principal is aware he cannot go and see her. She's busy. She has plans all week. Harry then tells the camera, I was like, well, that's certainly the opposite to what she had told me. The Duke also claims his brother, Prince William, screamed and shouted at him during a Sandringham meeting to agree on the Sussexes' future prior to their stepping back from royal duties. Buckingham Palace and Kensington Palace have maintained a strict silence in the wake of the allegations coming from the Duke and Duchess. But the Windsors will be bracing for more bombshell claims to drop as Harry's memoir hits the shelves.